Good morning, at least for me. Others out there burning the midnight oil or late in the evening or your day. So I appreciate you joining us and being able to attend today. We're going to be talking a little bit about ZENworks reporting on this ZENworks ZENcast Live and how ZENworks reporting can help you get information out of your systems. Okay, a lot of links here, so I did put in the let me put in the chat again. If you didn't get it, today's presentation, you can go ahead and download that there, and happy to those are links for you, so you can actually click on the links in the PDF and go to the locations we're talking about, so you don't have to write everything down. In the meantime, we're going to talk about ZENcast Live. ZENcast Live is for ZenWorks Admin, ZenWorks community, and anybody that's looking for information on ZenWorks. We try to get give you a rounded view on the different ZenWorks portfolios. We do have a schedule, which is coming up in a slide, but we meet the first and third Tuesday of every month, and time is around 9 o'clock Mountain Time, as you notice. And you can find other details and recordings on the training site, the Microfocus YouTube training site. Let me bring that over here. And okay. And so you can see we have ZENworks, ZENcasts, Service Desk, desktop containers. So this encompasses all of the ZENcasts. This encompasses ZENworks webinars and how-tos, as well as the ZENcasts that are for ZENworks configuration management, as well as the others. So if you're not familiar with this, please go out there and double check that. There's a lot of information out here for you. Okay, we got a lot of things to cover today. We're going to do a little bit of house cleaning. Subscribe so you get notifications when we're going live. And then you can also chat with us to converse while we're going through something if you have questions. You can also put an @ sign in the DM so that you can talk directly to that person that's asking the question. And then viewing is probably best if you hit the gear for 720p 60. And do remember, I do put the links that are in the presentation in the description of the YouTube once it's published, which is shortly after we end the session. So you can always fall back and see what those particular links are and go to those links if you need to reference them later. So be aware that those are available afterwards. Today's schedule, we're doing ZRS reporting and installation as well as configuration. We also have, I've adjusted this a little bit because we've had some requests. So we appreciate your involvement in this. We're going to be doing upgrade for 8.3. We're going to be doing tapping into databases, app streaming VDI alternative. Another one is applying the ZCM cumulative updates to your ZCM zone. So if you're not aware, after U2, if you baseline on 998, you can then get a monthly type maintenance package that has fixes and for defects and not so much upgrades. We're just talking fixes, right? So once you baseline at 998, which is the level of code that's installed, you can then go up, and they're cumulative. So if you miss a month, you can do it quarterly and then bump up and just go from 998 directly to 3 months out. But about every month we have a new update. So if you're not aware of that, we're going to cover that on June 21st. Okay, so we can cover that a little bit in more detail. Anyway, that's our schedule. We did have some the Microfocus Universe last month, and the event recordings are here. You can go out to this link and register to see those particular these particular ZENworks, but there's others out there as well, right? We covered the whole Microfocus portfolio, including ZENworks. Okay, so if there's Filer, iPrint, there's NetIQ, there's things like that. So know that those are there. You can go out there and see those presentations as well. So a little bit of information for you there. Community solutions, videos and TIDs. We're going to cover this a little bit. I'm adding this into my slide deck because I think it's really important that we know what the latest is. And so, for instance, we started putting an asset management in German videos out there that Oliver Vormwald has put out there. So we appreciate all the hard work put into this. But again, the slide deck in this particular one is in English, but the audio is in German. The nice thing about that is you can still follow along if you know the product, or if you're in the product, you can still follow along what he's doing. So it's a great video. We're going to have 3 more coming up, two on asset management, on one on patch management, and they're in German. And we're trying to get those translated to English as well. That takes a little bit of time and effort to get that rounded out. So the other thing is, and those are out on the ZENworks Asset Management. You'll see this under the training. Let's stop this. Yeah, so it's under training, support and training. Okay. So, and it'll be under the ZENworks. So that's exciting. We're getting into that area too. All this hard work that people have put in, let's get it out there so it can be digested. Another one is how to put a managed device into full debug mode, a new TID that's out there. Wanted to make sure you're aware of that. And so you may say, yeah, it seems common sense putting it into debug mode, but there's some details here that might come in very, very handy for you for what you're doing, explaining a few things about the different errors and so forth. There's also one for a primary server. Okay. And we get calls on this in support quite often. So you may say, well, why is there a TID on this? It seems so obvious. Well, if there's somebody new to the product, obviously it may be a little bit easier to just have a TID out there to reference. So we thank the support guys for doing this. We also have a Spring4J or Spring4Shell vulnerability TID out there and what it impacts. So it's not applicable to ZENworks products. There's a community post on that, and there's an actual TID as well. So the community is very effective in getting that information out. So be looking out there occasionally if you could. We do have a blog out there that ZSD 8.3 was released. Service Desk 8.3 is out there. There's a video for what's new. There's a video for upgrade tutorial. And then, of course, I mentioned the ZAM 1 of 4 in German, which is at the top here. Okay, and don't forget to put in your ideas. The ideas exchange is for you guys to add features to the product. It's really effective, and we do look over these. We look for votes so that we can see how popular it is. So if you haven't voted on things, go out there occasionally and vote on them so we can see if you're interested in us developing that into the system. Okay, and each one of the pages have the ideas exchange. Okay, and then remember that there's discussions out there as well. So if you have questions, you want to put it out there, we get some ideas or some things that are affecting your system, put it out there, and support answers them, I answer them, our PMs answer them, as well as the community answers them. So it's a great exchange of information. All right. Okay, again, TTP, Technology Transfer Partners, is typically academic, but they do great things using the community events and so forth. There is a TTP conference survey out there. If you haven't been out there, even if you're not academic, go check it out, and you can join them and see what's going on in that community. They have some great conferences and stuff. We do have the Keplinger-Cole analyst report that came out, so thank you everybody who contributed to participating in unified endpoint management and the way that ZCM actually is affected by that and how we scored. So that's exciting. I also want to mention that there are other live casts. All right, so Filer has a ZENcast. Filer has a FilerCast, if we want to call it that. It's the first Thursday of every month. You can register here. There's links in each one of these. There's group-wise enterprise messaging, and there's OES and iPrint. These are done by Robin Redgrave, who's out in the UK, so we appreciate him putting those together. But it's similar to this one. So you have some details about other products that are being explained from our community of Microfocus support personnel. Okay. These are the latest versions. 2020 Update 2. Again, FTF. 1004 is out on SLD. If you look at the TID 3432, you'll see the instructions for getting that baseline I talked about. And this may be overwhelming. Don't let it be overwhelming. Just remember that there's two sections here. One for customers who have not applied. We initially applied a 997, and then there was another issue with a log4j that was discovered, so we put out a 998, and that's cumulative between 997 and 998. So if you have not applied that to your zone, you'd go to section A, and then section B is for those who have, because there's a little bit of adjustments there. Okay, so be aware that that's there. You'll find the 1004 after you baseline. You can then install the 1004 onto your system, going to SLD. I wonder if it's in, no, this is different. I must have a wrong link. But if you go into your SLD, this link is going to SLD. You'll be able to download FTF 1004, which is a cumulative update from 998, which was what, November, December? And then you can get right up to April, which was 1004 was just released. Okay. And then if, let's see, if you were to go to, well, we'll move on here. What's new? So update 2, there's what's new. There's the upgrade cookbook. Some of the components that are involved with the ZCM 2020 update 2, obviously your ZCM, ZAM, ZPM, ZESM, FDE, and so forth. So those things are involved in that bundle, as well as ZRS. ZRS is at version 7.8. There's a what's new and readme out there. And then Service Desk 8.3. There's videos, what's new. There's a what's new readme doc and videos out there, along with an upgrade cookbook. Okay. And then MFDC 22.1 was released last month. So that has the latest in your application streaming. If you're even thinking about or contemplating VDI, check out MFDC application streaming, because it really has some, you could probably do what you need for the basic VDI stuff in the application streaming. So you may already own it. Okay. So just to be aware of that. They're building it up big. All right, so let's recap a little bit. Last week, we did some building of bundle types. We did some simple commands. We did some scripts. We showed some MSIs. And then we got into some complex application that had a lot of actions, and we had bundle ordering and everything else. So it was a pretty good session, I believe. Covered a little bit more on bundles. We covered some things about permissions in general, in the advanced bundle ordering, launch options, requirements for bundles and actions, right? You have a system requirement for the bundle itself, and then system requirement for actions, and then the uninstall. And then, of course, we covered a little bit about the deployment schedule. But let's get into what we're talking about today. We're doing ZRS tips, installation and configure. So we're going to install a VM. We're going to add at least a domain, and then after rebooting, we're going to go to online updates and complete that process to get to 7.81. So in this particular case, you will download the VM for 7.2, and online updates give you 7.81. Okay, and we'll cover some of that. Start using ZRS at that point once you're at 7.81. One thing about the 7.8 version, the trusted store, it prompts you and says, do you want to trust it? Whereas before you had to manually import it. So trusted store is automated now. So that really is good. And then we have some ZRS domains for ZENworks Service Desk. There's a ZENworks domain, an audit domain, and a bundle domain, as well as Service Desk domain. And we'll cover what those are. Domains are basically connections to the database. Okay. And what tables and fields we're connecting to in that database. All right, let's go ahead and close these down. Let's bring over this guy. So I've imported a VM, and the first thing I do is I forget to check do not start up when import is complete. And what happens is it says, hey, by the way, it requires an additional disk, and I don't know if I can bring this bigger. No, I can't. So it requires another hard disk. So it does require that second V storage disk. So it's going to tell you power off and then add the disk. So we'll go ahead and let me expand this a little bit so we can see it a little better. And we can, yeah, we're right up to the edge. Let's move this over. How's that? So we're going to start this up. Power on. Oh, I didn't add it. Same problem. Sorry, hang on. Jumped the gun. No, I didn't want to suspend. I'll get it right. It's today Monday. We can go ahead and do that. Now we can add another snapshot settings. We're going to add another hard drive. And this is an appliance, obviously. And we're just going to create a new virtual disk. We'll give it the 20 gigabytes. Don't need a lot of storage because it's just referencing and then you're building reports within it. I typically do a single file for my store for this. We're going to call this VA storage. And we'll hit finish. Now we have 2 disks and we're going to fire this up. So we're going to hit OK. And we're going to start up this particular VM. And off we go, off to the races. Okay, so this is going to come up and give us a few details that we need to put in. Obviously, some IP addresses, a DNS name, tell it which passwords for the root and the ZRS admin password, right? And then we'll get started. So here's the EULA. We're going to go ahead and accept the EULA. Here's the passwords. We'll put in the super secret passwords. Okay, and we're going to put in, we're Mountain Time, USA, Mountain. Hit next. And we'll call this ZRS ZENcast 90, which is our IP. So let's hit OK. Hostname, oh, I didn't put the .digitalair.com. All right, here we go. It's going to ask us our IP. Might help if I had numlocks on. Okay. And then I have a couple, I have 60 here. And then I move these around. And I have 2.681.1. And we're going to hit next. Now it's going to start the configuration of the OS, configuring the time zone, and we're going to configure the network, and then we're going to configure the additional disk that is required. And you'll see that come up real quick. And so let's see. I had something else to show you. Okay, well, let's do it. So here's the disk. It sees a 20 gigabyte disk. We're going to hit configure. Configure the storage. That's what I wanted. I was looking for, let me see if I can find it real quick. Jason provided me with a nice PowerPoint that had some terms in it. PowerPoint. Let me move this over. So as that's coming up, I'm going to see if I can find a presentation here that was really good about showing us the different terms on the ZENcast. Sorry, I wasn't prepared with this. Let's see if I can find it while that's coming up. We're going to ZRS, and I think it's this one. Yes, it's this one. So we're going to go move this one over here. While that's installing, I think it'll be a good time to check this one out. Okay, so some of the important terms in ZRS is a domain. So it's basically a document that connects ZRS to data fields so that measures can be exposed, identifies how tables are joined together, and those types of things. So it is your connection. And when you're running an ad hoc, it goes through, we'll cover that in a minute. So domain security file is automatically brought up now, so you don't need this to manually do that, but it basically gives a security based on the Jaspersoft rules. Domain localization files, you could set properties on files that contain localization keys and values for the display of domain objects. Topic is a specialized report. So you can actually go into Jaspersoft, put in a SQL query to make a report. It'll eject a JRXML, which you can then put into ZRS as a report. Okay, so that's what will help you there as far as topics. So it's handcrafted SQL statement. Ad hoc view is built on the fly. So as you're bringing things in, meaning fields and stuff, it's querying the database directly. And then ad hoc report is your ad hoc view created into a report because that's how you want it. It can't be changed, the report itself, but you can go into your ad hoc view, modify it, and then create the report again. All right. And then there's dashboard, JRXML report, which is what we talked about a little bit before, and then there's fields and measures. Okay. So we're going to cover some of these terms as we go along through this. We could see that our ZRS is pretty much installed now. If we went in root, okay, actually we can go to, on this guy, we are going to minimize, nope, not minimize that one. We go full screen. Okay. There we go, let's go full screen. That's what I'm looking for. So let's go to 909443, and it's going to kick us out. I was doing some testing. So we can now log in. And let's go to root. And we could see that we are at 7.2 over here. One thing I wanted to mention is, remember, we go through online updates to get to 7.8.1. Okay, we've now gotten 7.2 installed, and we're like, well, you know, I don't need to configure ZRS reporting yet. I actually want to go ahead and cancel this and go to online updates and register online updates, get 7.8.1 and all the security patches, boom, reboot, then I'll configure. Don't do that. Okay, I've tried it a couple times, and actually you're supposed to complete ZRS because it hasn't actually completed the full ZRS install either. It's installed the OS, but not the actual install of ZRS completely. So don't cancel and do online updates. You want to actually go to configure at least one domain. So you want to hit configure ZENworks reporting server. Otherwise, you're going to be reinstalling again. So I just want to give that shout out. So default account for ZRS. So we'll do ZRS user, and we'll give it a super secret password, and we'll hit next. All right. Now add at least one domain. Okay. Don't cancel here. Tried that too. Don't cancel here. You want to make sure you add at least one domain. So we're do one, give my ZCM, oops, one dot. And this is your administrator, or whoever an administrator in ZCC is, right? And you can have all of these or one of these. It doesn't really matter whether or not you have Vertica domains. You can tap into that as well. So we're going to go ahead and hit just the one. It takes about the same amount of time for all of them, it seems. Oops, unable to connect. We're doing ZENworks zone, add. Let me see where my zone is. Let's go here. 27 here. Okay. Let me check. So it's trying to make a connection to the ZENworks zone directly. Let's see if we can log in. Yeah, we can log in. We're on Postgres. It'll pick that up just by specifying the IP 90. Oh, sorry. I want to go to the to here. So server address 192.168.1.27.443. Oh no, this is, I'm sorry. This is your, that's why I had it up. This is the database administrator, right? So that's going to be Zen Admin. I'm glad I ran into that so I can show you. That's why I had this up. Or I did. I think I closed it. Let's go to command prompt. Run CMD. So you want, what you want to do to get that would be the zman DGC, right? For the configuration. So you're going to do Zen Admin and this number here. So if I go to here, we're going to do Zen Admin and tap in to, I think I have it under here. Let me go back to there. That's something. No, it won't. It won't do it. All right, let's go back over here. Cancel. You'd think I would have this. I did this a few times. We'll put this in. Something doesn't seem right though. Yeah, for some reason. Hang on a second. What am I getting wrong? I jumped right into administration for a reason. Okay, I can get to that. The demo gods are going after me today. Yeah, this is, yeah, I don't know what it was. It is the administrator, ZCC administrator. There's another portion where you need to use that DGC, but not here. So I apologize for that. You're getting in one domain at least. If we wanted to add the others, we could. And again, it's administrator. And add it in. Yeah, okay. Okay, and notice it shows the version. So if you were going from, if you previously had it installed for 20.1 1.0, you can go back in here and just overwrite that with 2.0. And it connects those fields, which we'll see in a minute, to the ZRS database so we can make reports. Okay? And you can see it's PostgreSQL and so forth. All right, here's a certificate. It'll take the internal certificate automatically, and it's going to take a minute to connect and double check all the fields and all of that fun stuff. So this will take probably about 5 minutes. So we're going to go back into our other presentation that Jason kindly gave us and see a few things. So, okay, actually, this is 90. It's going to come up. It's going to then ask for, it's going to be ready to go in ZRS 720. And what I have done is I've actually created another, this is what I did last night. I have a 90 here. We're going to actually halt this, right? You say, well, why am I doing that? It's because I already got one here that's complete, so we don't have to wait. So this one will come up real quick. So in this case, we've now completed the install of ZRS. It says a reboot is required. We go ahead and we reboot, and that's where we are right here. Okay. So we're rebooting at this point in time, saving a little bit of time. We're up and running. Notice it's also 90. We're going to go over to our browser, and if we go 9443, that's fine. It'll just reconnect and ask us to log in. Wait for Jetty to get up and running. Okay, let's go ahead and log in. So we've finished the install. We're now, and it's about eight minutes to get that domain and the configuration ZRS complete, and it asks for a reboot. So we're going to now do Zen Admin. Now notice Zen Admin. So Zen Admin and root are pretty much the same thing. Those are the passwords you put in during the install. And so to save a little bit of time, I've already registered the online updates with this one. So you can see that it comes up with an exclamation point, meaning there's an update. We are still at 7.2, right? Okay. And so you'd go in here and you'd basically register. And then it gives you, put in your email address and put in your code that you get in SLD. And then it'll say, oh, okay, now you're connected to the channel. Here's the updates. And you can see down here at the bottom, we have a 781 hotfix. So it's going to go from 720 to 781. And so we're going to update now. And this again takes you a few minutes to go, and then an update is required. Okay. And then you come up at 781 and you can complete any of those updates that you need to do as far as connecting to other domains and so forth. All right, we're going to let this one fly because this is on 90. I have a 91 as well, so it's already pre-configured to save a little bit of time. So we have 91, not that one. We have 92. 92 is fine. Connected to 87, I believe. All right, let's go there. So let's go to, this is 92. Okay. Now this is the login ZRS user. Okay, so that's logging into the main portal. It's not 9443. Let's log into 9443 as well. And we can use root or Zen Admin. And that occurs if I haven't refreshed my browser. Okay, so this one, the online updates has been completed. You can see there's no more online updates needed in this channel. If we go home, we can see we're at 781 up here. All right, so we've done that, and that will give yourself about a half an hour to get to a fully functioning 7.8.1 with all the updates and everything. And you'll have the appliance up and running and configured. If you want to see where it's configured, you can go to, if I went too quick there, ZENworks Reporting Configuration, okay? And then this is where you set different things. If you forgot your administrator password, you can go in here and reset it, right? This is for logging into the portal, into this guy, right? Into the main reporting server. So you can change the password here. There's things like the domain configuration. You can see we're configured to service desk right here. Okay. So service desk is configured. And so if we went over to here, we can see that I have in my library, here's all the reports. Now I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not a specialist on ZENworks reporting, but in my presentation, I have under the resources, and I'll display those now, I have a myriad of places to go for ZENworks reporting services. Okay, there's things that Ron's put out there, Oliver's put out there, Jason's put out there. Even if you go to YouTube, like if you go to the how-tos over here, let's go ahead and pull that up. You'll see a bunch of reporting servers stuff, how to. You see it's 3 years ago, 5 years ago. They still pertain because all we've done is enhance the connector and enhance the security on the appliance. And so ZRS has improved, but the way to do things is pretty much the same. So you can go out here, no sense recreating the wheel, you can go out here and actually see and go through some of these lessons to do some of these how-tos. There are like ZRS Components. There's one out here. There's ZRS Dashboards. Okay. So and then there's some ZENcasts. We've done some ZENcasts, ZRS to ZSD, ZRS to ZCM and ZSD, ZRS reporting. So no sense reinventing that wheel. And then there's some ZRS workshops. Yes, these are older, but boy, you'll find some great stuff in here. I actually, and not being an expert, I went out to these to get a little bit of kickstart into today's presentation. Okay, so be aware those are available for you, and don't shy away if they're older, because they'll help you get right along with what you need to do. You can see that the recent items, I've made some recent items here and created some reports. Again, when you create reports, you have an ad hoc view. You pick the domain you're going to be connecting to, right? And then as we move things over, and let's say we want to do requests, and we move requests over, as you see that these are grayed out. That's because there's no joins for these to requests, right? So if I were to do users and teams, it's just selected on users and teams, not requests. Not to say that you can't get in the request, there is a user ID that you can get the name of the technician or the customer, all right? So this is specifically for user and team reports. This is for request reports and all the fields associated to it. But you can combine some of them, so like requests and configuration. If we hit OK, we then come up with an ad hoc view. It defaults to a crosstab, okay? So that means it'll do totals for you. So if we do request number for the columns, we don't want to do that. We actually want to do rows, right? So you can see the rows here. This is the request number. This one goes across the top. Now the nice thing is this particular database has a lot of information in it, and by default it does sample data, not full data. So you can at least see what's going on with the report with a sample bit of data. But if data doesn't show up, like for instance, I'll do request number and then request type, right? And I see totals here. Well, that's because we're in a cross tab, all right? If I expand this, I can see this as an incident. Well, I don't want to expand these all in this particular case. Sometimes you do. We're going to actually go to a table, okay? So again, we're going to go ahead and go into requests. We're going to do request. Oh, we have request type here. So we want to put them up here. So now it looks a little more palpable, right? But notice it's only the first, 20, 15 selections. If I were to go and do full data, it'll take a little bit longer and you'll see that it has more information. But notice there's no incidents, right? That's because farther down, it will have the incident data, okay? So just a little bit about filters. I could then say, maybe I just want service requests. So I can right click here, do create a filter, and I want it as a service request to be displayed. Once I apply it, you can see the service requests come up, okay? And you can multiply these. You can have service desk incidents or problems and change or just change, that type of thing. So that's a little bit about the filtering, getting things to look right. You may want to just do sample data if you have a lot of data in there so that you don't overwhelm the system, because it does an immediate query at the time that you're configuring this, dragging and dropping. All right. So now that let's say this is what we want, we can put a title in this, service requests. I'm going to put my initials in front of it just for kicks and grins. And I'm going to say we want to save this. We can save it as an ad hoc view so we can edit it later. We can save it as an ad hoc view and create report. Okay. So, and you have the save as, and then if you want to save it as something else so that you can edit it even further. So for instance, let's save it as ad hoc view and create a report. We're going to do the ad hoc view is incidents or service requests, right? And then this one is service requests. And you'd probably want to do other things like put in dates and times and, you know, when is it closed? Is it open? So I've created a folder. I forgot to show you how to do this. I'll show you this in a moment. And we're going to use the default template. So we're going to hit save here. And we're going to tell it also to go in the public my folder for ticket information. We're going to hit save. You put a description in here, hit save. Now I'll save that report as service requests. So if we go to our libraries and we look at PFP, let's see, our repository, we can see we have ad hoc view and service requests. Okay. If we selected service requests, we can see there's the report. Pretty basic. All right. Now the nice thing is if we go to our repository and we go to our ad hoc view, we can then go and change this to incidents, right? Hit apply. Now I can change it to save as, come on now, ad hoc view. We're going to save with the normal template, save as. We're going to call this incidences. And this is incidents. And we're going to go ahead and hit save here. All right. With that, when we go to repository and we look at, if we wanted to create a folder of our own, we can go ahead and do add folder. Maybe we want to do ZCM reports, right? We hit add. There's your ZCM reports. It's under the public, and that's how I navigated to it when I was saving. All right. We look under here, we have our service requests. I didn't put any description in it. So you can see here service requests, right? We can go directly to the report for today. And you can filter it out. Last 30 days, last 90 days. How did we do last quarter closing tickets versus opening tickets? That type of thing. And those are really well explained in the some of those reports. But you can notice that it pulled in all of my information, 371. Okay. All right. So there's our library. One thing I do want to check back with is 87. So we have close. Did we fail to, let's look. See if we completed on 90. Yeah, online updates is done, but notice reboot is needed. We'll go ahead and reboot. Okay, like I said, give yourself about 30 minutes to get this up and running, but then you're ready to go. So while that's rebooted, I'm going to double check on one other the ZRS appliance. I'm going to power on 91. I think that one has my ZCM in it. So we can actually do some ZCM reports. Okay, let's go back over here. That's still trying to come up. All right, so as far as the library, so you have, now if you wanted to remove, let's say you wanted to remove this report, diagnostic report, or the one I just created, which was service requests, you'd go into the repository to do that. All right, and the repository is your full library of everything that's going on. You'd go to the particular location. You could then right click and you can do things to it, right? Properties, delete, edit. If you edit it, you can add in that description, I believe, so those types of things. Okay. All right, if there's any questions, go ahead and put them in chat. Happy to try and answer them, or at least direct you to the right location. Let's see if 90's up. It looks like it's almost there. Let's try this. We're going to check where this one's connected. Now 92, I guess, is the same. It's connected to the same one. The one we just installed, or 90. So if we go to ZENworks reporting, we go to the domain configuration, we can see, oh, this is still with Microfocus, just a different service desk. All right, so we'll go over to ours, which should have restarted by now. Here is 90. Oh, that's this one. Cancel. Cancel. Let's go over here. 90B is closed down. This one is 90, which is up. 91. Let's add a domain. Yeah. Be just that easy. So let's go over to our ZENworks reporting. We're going to go to the 9443 console, right? Domain configuration. Let's add 92.168.127. Administrator. This is in ZCC, and we're going to add these. Thing is it's going to want to reconfigure. So we could see the red dot here. That means we've made some changes to that particular component, and you could see apply changes needs to be done. All right, and this takes about 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, I thought I had one that already had ZCM joined to it. We got 90. Let's double check one more thing down here. 90. 91. Oh, let's go to 91. Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of. 91. Okay. go. Root or SD admin. Let's see where it's connected. This one has it. Okay, so that's the one we want to go to. So let's go ahead and instead of going to 9443, we're just going to go to the portal, the ZRS administration login. Oh, I think this one was different. There we go. And you can see we have, if we go to our library, we have a few more here. You can see bundle things in here, device statuses, and so forth. You can see I've even created a couple of these, license information. So the nice thing about this, and I don't have them all done, but you could go into here and pretty much get all that health check information from the zone. All right. So if we went to the library and let's say we're doing a system update and we need to check on our license information. Well, I have a report here that pretty much it says, okay, what dates between the license? Well, I want it today. So we're going to do today and hit OK. It's going to give me my license information, which is great, right? So now that's one thing down. Let's say we want to see what our primary servers and satellite servers, what roles they have. Okay, so if we go over to my reports, where is my server roles? I think it keeps scrolling. Server roles, I think it's this one. This is an ad hoc view. All right, so we started working on this one. You can see this one's a satellite. We can, and this one's a primary. So you can move things around here if you wanted to. Let's go ahead and swap to, if I do that, it is a table. Cancel. So if I do server name, I could see the server name for each of the roles. So basically, I'm grouping by server type, which is primary, and then server role. Group by type. So here's my primary, and the roles for that particular device. Okay, I think I want to check the other one. Oh, cancel. Yeah, okay, that's fine. The other one has this one here. Yeah, so this one has the satellites too. All right, remember your filters over here. So if you wanted to just look at satellites, you can go to in here and find where the roles are, server roles. Here's your ZCM zone. Those are certificate server role. We can change a filter and we can say we just want to know about primaries because that's all we're upgrading. Oops. Server role equals. Oh, we want to see where our master primary is. Let's say it's on our one primary satellite. Let's say we want to see where our certificate auth is. All right, and this is critical for if you're moving off of one platform to another, going from a primary server that's Windows to an appliance, or if you're upgrading the Windows to another Windows server for your primary, you need to know where some of these things are. So you can also then go ahead and remove filter, apply. We have our basic ad hoc view. So once you have these in reports, you could easily find, because this is an immediate query, a dynamic query, what's going on with your system. So you can pretty much do some of your health check right here. I know in support I had a query that would list this out. And then I'm like, well, ZRS does that. Why don't we just look at ZRS to do that? Okay. So that's very handy, should be good for you. There's a few different ones in here. If I go to my repository and I go to, did I make a folder? I think I did down here. Yep. So I have server roles. This is another one, server roles. License. This is the one I think I was just looking at. So I started building these yesterday. So here's the actual report. And so when you're doing change control, you can say, this is our current configuration. This is what we need to do, and make edits to the report as needed. All right, makes sense? Same with service desk. Again, having, how many are closed or open this last month. But The videos you'll see that are in this presentation go even further with that. They do, what are the totals and which ones are closed or open. So you can start dovetailing totals in there and all sorts of calculations. All right. I'm going to go back over to here because I think I had one more to mention. So server type, you can do all columns if you want. Okay. But if you want to do group by server name, you can see what's there. All right. So shifting these around and having these for the server type, we could say I just want to see my primaries, not my role. Apply. And there you have it. If I had multiples, they would all show up here. Okay. All right. I think we're coming close to the end of the hour, so I don't see any questions. I hope this was valuable. Again, download that presentation because it has all those links to those other videos that are great training for ZRS. It has just some great details, and I think that you'll get a lot out of it. You'll be able to do what you need to do pretty much. Oh, the one thing we do need to look at, I do believe, is it's actually a cool solution. Did I have it in here? I should have had it in for downloading those domains. Let me see. ZRS domains. I'm looking. You can go out to the community site to get I think it's this one. Yep. Okay, so Jason explains what these are and how to connect to it, getting examples of reports. And then you'll see here Service Desk 7.2, Service Desk 7.3. Now do be aware that 7.3 still works on 8.3. Okay. It's just we haven't tied in those extra fields yet, which is what we're working on right now, is trying to enhance these for the latest. So you basically download, depending on which database you have, that version, and then you'd plug it into ZRS and it would know, okay, it's Oracle, so it's going to be on this port, and we'll connect to those particular fields, right? Same with Service Desk, or same with ZCM. ZCM is automated already, okay? So be aware that, and this has been tested above 7.4, just so you know, this is an older community site. And then connecting ZRS to ZCM and ZSD, there's a YouTube video out, or actually a ZENcast out there. Okay. All right. Wanted to make sure I got that in. You'd say, hey, how do I get those domains for Service Desk? It's not automatically listed like it was in the install of ZRS to configure. It only had ZCM. So that's where you get to it. Okay. I didn't show you that it'll ask you by default. It looks for ZCM, and you put in the parameters. If you want to do a ZSD, you'll select. It's a drop down, and you'll select a file, and that's this file that you're going to download, the 110 zip. Okay. Went too quick on that one. All right. So enjoy. Hope this gives you some details, some more details of simplifying it, as well as the installation of it. We haven't done the installation before. And just know that the older webinars and stuff work real well. They're great information for understanding and getting around within ZENworks reporting services. Okay. The next ZENcast topic's going to be ZENworks Service Desk Upgrade Demo and Tips. So we're going to upgrade to 8.3 and be giving you some insights on that. There is a cookbook out there. There is a video out there, but we're going to go through it in the ZENcast as well. So we've had that request. All right. I want to thank everybody for being here and your time. I hope it's helpful, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Talk soon.